Recording, I think so. Looks like it's doing it. All right.
It is.
Oh, wow. Awesome. We want to welcome everybody to our second episode of After Two Beers. With us tonight, depending on when you're watching this, is Jasmine. Jasmine Bamlet. Yes. I always want to say, what is that?
It's Hamlet with a B.
I always want to say Bramlet. I don't know why. Like that's why I don't know. There's nothing that leads me to want that says there should be an R in your name, but for some reason
Our HOA VP says it Bramlet every time, but she's like 70 years old, so I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
I mean, I every once in a while I get somebody who says McCloskey with an R, McClarsky, which is so maybe I don't know. Maybe I want to put that on. Maybe I'm projecting here. I don't know.
Carrying the R.
Yeah, just we're gonna carry that R over. So After Two Beers, if you haven't seen one before, is quite simply Jasmine and I having a conversation recorded that will be put onto YouTube and Facebook, and nothing else to make anybody uneasy after having two beers. And so tonight Jasmine is in Charlotte and I'm in Asheboro, so we haven't been able to clink glasses, but we've each had our own two beers. So Jasmine, you want to tell everybody what two beers you've had so far, and then we'll drinking together.
So I had Charlotte beers because I'm based here. I'm also about to marry a Charlotte brewer, so it felt right. The first one I had was the Hellas Lager from Resident Culture, which is where my fiance Peter works. And then the second one,
the can there? Or did you get
Oh no, I took it down.
Okay.
Had to recycle. Actually, so the second one I had was Zest Intentions, which is a fruited Berliner Weiss from Divine Barrel. And actually, all the can tops or the pop tops that I'm taking off my cans right now, I'm going to take to Divine Barrel after COVID-19 and the stay-at-home order is up, because they're taking them to the Ronald McDonald House. So trying to get Peter to do that is a whole nother thing, but
So Ronald McDonald houses are still collecting the pop tabs. That's what we call
them. I guess so. It just gives me a reason to take them off every time. So
well, I'm gonna look into that. I had no idea. I had the Saxbaha Pale Ale from Haw River Farmhouse Ales in Saxbaha. It's a lot of syllables there. And,
especially after two beers.
Especially I'm looking a little ruddy. And then maybe because of this, bourbon barrel aged Impending Grace Imperial Stout from Four Saints. And so now together, while we have this conversation, we're going to be drinking. We each have our own version of Foothills Sexual Chocolate.
And yours is barrel aged too, right?
Yes, mine is bourbon barrel aged. Yes.
Okay.
Not trying to one up or anything. It's what I got. And so we were talking about this beforehand, and this was we did when Kristen and I moved into this house for the first Christmas. We did a Christmas party, and it had one of the Secret Santa. Oh, by the way, cheers. By the way.
Cheers. Did you read the description on it? I haven't read it in a while, and it was like, that's where I want to be, is that description right now.
I'm going to read it for everybody so they have it. Should I read? What kind of voice should I read it in?
I don't know. Do you know Ray? You should read it in Ray's voice.
I can't do ESPN. I don't. Love you, Ray. Did he write this? Did Ray write this?
I would assume so, because he writes most of their copy, but
All right. Well, a smooth, dark, cocoa-infused imperial stout, barrel-aged for 4 months, perfect for sipping and cellaring. A rich chocolate aroma twined seamlessly with delicious overtones of bourbon, vanilla, and oak. Notes of espresso, black strap molasses, and caramel, not caramel, caramel. A dark chocolate backbone and complex layers of toffee and dark fruit. Mm.
Right?
Yeah. So that's what, yeah. Is yours say the same thing?
Yeah, it does. I was like reading along with you in my head. Mine's a 2017 though. So this is the barrel age that released in September of 2017. So still a really good vintage. But no 2015.
Yeah, this was 2015. This was we actually moved into this house 2014 because then we opened up the brewery in 2015, and so the Christmas of 2015 we had a Christmas party, and it was a white elephant kind of dirty kind of thing, and so this beer was stolen like 2 or 3 times, and then I was the last one to steal it, and the guy that I stole it off of told me it wasn't fair because I owned a brewery and I shouldn't be stealing beer like that off of him. And sorry, Matt, that's what happened. But yes, we you wanted to be able to share beer, triad beer together. We're in triad, and Jasmine's down in Charlotte. That's what we had together. We were talking earlier about her gigantic mug of water. Hold that up there. And it was, same thing at home. Because I think it's almost 32 ounces. Have you measured it?
Well, this is my Nalgene, and this is 32 ounces. I think this one's more like 24, but I still feel much, I don't know what it is. I count that as a cup. So whereas everybody else is drinking, they're like puny 8-ounce cups. I'm like, oh no, I'll take my 24, thank you. So I'm probably drinking twice my body weight in water every day.
You're overly hydrated. Like you're
Very hydrated, which is always a good thing.
there's nothing wrong with being overly hydrated. I mean, unless you're drinking like way too much, where you start like doing osmosis, like reverse osmosis, I guess. And
I don't know if that's how that science works, but
years of those. So we've had a chance to just talk, and we talked about books, and we talked about movies. If we want to get right into the big stuff here, I'm gonna jump right into the question that was in the email. What was your favorite cereal growing up as a kid?
favorite cereal.
Yeah.
So I actually have a great story about cereal. When I was in like elementary school, my mom would pour cereal before, like the night before, because she's a single parent, and so streamlining breakfast in the morning was top priority. And so I actually like to mix my cereals. So I would do like Frosted Flakes and Mini Wheats, and I would eat them together. But we would prep our cereal the night before, and then the next morning you just get up, you sit down, you pour your milk in, you're good to go.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. My favorite cereal now is Honey Nut Cheerios, mostly because you can get a 2-pack at Costco. But we don't actually keep a lot of cereal in the house. But yeah, Honey Nut Cheerios, pretty good. Frosted Flakes were a big one.
Frosted Flakes and Frosted Mini Wheats. Those were my top two growing up. Now, when you prepped it at night, like did you have a specific way you did it? Did you put Frosted Flakes and then the Mini Wheats, or did you do the Mini Wheats and then the Frosted Flakes, or did you put them together and kind of like shake them up so it was all kind of mixed around? Like,
So we just poured them into the bowl normally. So you pour a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, and then you put a paper towel over it because that's going to keep the air out and stop it from being stale. Obviously, that's how science works. So
No, that
yeah.
yeah, mixing cereals. That's a science in and of itself.
My grown-up version,
Yeah.
if you've not done Honey Nut Cheerios with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, don't even talk to me. It's so good.
And so that's the end of our conversation. We've done this. This is amazing. Gonna have to order these on a grocery store to have them delivered to me. That sounds. I would not have thought to put those together, but that sounds really good. What cereal did you hate growing up? Like if it was in the house,
Um,
ugh, no.
Cereal that I hated. Kicks. Why? They just don't taste good. There's a reason you have to add so much sugar to those. Like, I never realized how much sugar I added to cereal growing up until I ate Kicks on their own. They're so bland.
Was it kid tested, mother approved? Like that right there, that last two lines, like that last two words, like mother approved, should have told every kid like this is a bad idea.
This is not good.
No.
It's like they're trying to feed you Raisin Bran without the sugar on top. Why?
Two scoops. But no, he gets you with the sugar because with Stella, she's 6, and somehow, some way, we have convinced her that cereal doesn't need any sugar. So
Mm-hmm.
she'll eat rice checks is currently her favorite, which is like eating cardboard. One, once it gets in the milk, it's soggy like instantly. She doesn't mind soggy cereal, which she and I are gonna have to have a talk at some point. But then like, she doesn't put any sugar on it. She's just happy with it. Same with Rice Krispies. She doesn't put any sugar. And I remember like if we had Rice Krispies, it was like, where's that cup? And here we go. And so
Well, they're also so small. It's like, this isn't even a meal. Why are you handing me rice? This is not actually cereal.
you get down to the bottom of the bowl, and you had that bowl tilted up just a little bit, so you just had that pile of sugar down in the bottom, just milk and sugar. That's all you had. That's what you ate it for. But that I asked her if she wanted sugar on her cereal, and she looked at me and she went, "Why?" I was like, "Oh." I was like, "What have I done?"
But also, who are you?
No, like this is how you do this. And she's like, "Daddy, do you want some Rice Krispies?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I want to put sugar on it." Like,
There's like Cup of Joe in Hillsboro
okay.
was doing cereal milk lattes. So basically, they would like make a bowl of cereal. This is what I'm assuming. But they would make a bowl of cereal and then they use the milk from that cereal and steam it the way they steam normal milk. And that goes in your latte. Can you imagine a Cinnamon Toast Crunch latte?
I'm trying. If you can.
I mean, but then think about like a Fruit Loops latte. That one's a little bit weirder.
I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of Fruit Loops. Like I'm one of those. I'm one of those Fruit Loop conspiracy theorists that say all the Fruit Loops are the same flavor. They're just different colors. Like you can
Probably right.
you can eat a red, you can eat a blue one, same flavor. Just it's your mind going. That's a red one. That's a blue one. And
yeah, but I bet if they dyed Kicks, I'd like them more.
But they have berry kicks. They do have berry kicks, which
that's not a real thing. Are you talking about Trix?
No, I'm not. I'm not talking about Trix. Though I see how that could happen. Berry kicks is a real thing. It's the same, little, I don't know what they eat.
I don't think they're that big, but
kid, they seem that big. No, they Yeah, there's berry kicks. It has the regular kicks, and then there's red and purple
Huh.
kicks in there that have some semblance of flavor. Um, but yeah, I can't verify that they taste like anything. Um, I haven't had kicks in a long time.
Yeah, I know. I know. When I got old enough to buy my own cereal, I was like, nope.
I got old enough to buy my own cereal. I was buying Rice Krispie treat cereal. I was buying
Right.
treat.
Raisin Bran Crunch.
Reese's for breakfast. Sounds like a delicious idea.
Right. Well, and I think that's what marked adulthood for me was when I could go to Target and be like, what do I want for breakfast this week? You know what? Chocolate chip waffles and Reese's Puffs. Perfect.
I was like, those sound like winners. That, those first grocery trips. I mean, I used to stock up on Hot Pockets, lots of Hot Pockets.
Yeah. I did that a lot in college. Now we've gotten into like, there's these weird lean cuisine, like spring rolls is what they're labeling them. They're like mini egg rolls, but you feel better because they have like 13 grams of protein, right?
Right.
I'll
Right.
eat packets of those. They're great.
Uh,
It's basically like a hot pocket. It comes with a sleeve and everything. So
it's a fancy Hot Pocket. They call it a spring roll. Okay. We used to take Hot Pockets, and what made them fancy for us was like we'd have um, so it'd be like the pepperoni and cheese and the ham and cheese.
mhm.
Never the broccoli. If it had broccoli in it, we're like, nope. Like it was
Yeah, that's not even, that's no, that's not the, you don't get the garlic crust to get broccoli in there. Like,
I want meat, cheese, and bread. That's it. That's all I wanted. And so then we'd get those, and then we had. So the guy I lived with, my roommate was name was Josh. We called him Juice. So uh, yeah, all my friends have nicknames. Um,
sounds like your name.
what's that?
Gosh, called him Juice.
I still to this day don't know why they called him Juice. But anyways, but we'd had our freezer we stocked with Hot Pockets, and what we did to diversify our menu was we had all the Frank's hot sauces, like all of them, because there was Frank's, and then there was Frank's Buffalo, right? And then you had Frank's chili lime, and then you had Frank's extra hot,
Oh boy.
Frank's garlic, and then you had I want to say there's one or two more, but you'd make your two hot pockets, and one would be just Frank's regular, and then one would be like Frank's lime, and it was like you were taking a trip.
Right. This is how I take adventures. You know?
That was it. It was all hot sauce. Uh, yeah, that was a way of making things happen.
No Texas Pete in your house?
No, Texas. That was up in Pittsburgh, so there was no Texas Pete up in Pittsburgh.
Hmm.
It was Frank's. Frank's Red Hot was the hot sauce du jour. I didn't get introduced to Texas Pete until I moved down here. So I had no idea it existed, and I asked for Frank's at one point, and he looked at me and they're like, "We don't know what that is."
And also, you're wrong.
I'm like, "Oh, so Texas Pete, is that from Texas?" And then that was the wrong thing to say.
I got all downhill from there.
So did you grow up in North Carolina?
Uh, yes, I grew up in North Carolina. I was born in Minnesota,
Okay.
which is why I have a heavy North Carolina accent and why people look at me weird sometimes. So they're like, you're not from around here. But no, I was born in Rochester, Minnesota, and I moved here right before my 10th birthday. We moved out here to be closer to family, and the odd thing that happened is we ended up not really staying in touch with that part of our family. So, but I went to NC State, go Wolfpack, and then stayed in Raleigh for about 6 years until Peter and I moved in together in Winston, and then from Winston we moved here to Charlotte.
So I noticed earlier when you were talking about cereal, and I heard it maybe I heard milk. It was almost like an MALK.
Mm-hmm.
I says she will deny it. And when she sees this, she's gonna like come from another room and like
Mm-hmm.
missile me. But yeah, that is that kind of normal. Instead of milk, it's milk, and then just kind of slight derivatives and so, yeah.
The other big one I got growing up was bag, like go
Bag.
get your book bag.
Yeah.
But I just pull it out like an E almost, like bagging instead of bagging.
Oh, I wouldn't have picked up on that.
I also used to call Skittles Skiddos for some reason, and that doesn't even make sense, but yeah.
I'm not going to call them anything else from here on out. I like that a whole lot better. Estella loves Skittles, and so from now on, I'm going to call them Skiddos.
Yeah. I don't know why it came out that way, but yeah.
Now, was that specifically you, or was that Minnesota?
That was me. That was Jasmine original.
Well,
I like to make up words. I never really had to. One of the worst fears I ever had was reading aloud in class. I hated that because I don't really sound out words. I'm an incredibly smart individual. I just don't like taking the time to sound out words. So I just make them up, which bit me in the ass when I was in 8th grade taking like science in the science class, and we were learning about the endoplasmic reticulum.
Right. Yeah.
I said a slightly different word.
Can you
on the
do
end.
that? Can you what did you say?
I said endoplasmic rectum.
Which
in 8th grade, which is not the same thing. It's not. And it did not go over well for me because I also didn't know what I wasn't 100% sure what I had said, and I didn't understand why people were laughing. So 8th grade, middle school is the worst.
It
So
it is. Reading out loud was always reading out loud, and that was a standard practice. Like that was you read a paragraph and you read a paragraph and you read a paragraph and you read a paragraph, and you didn't pay attention to what anybody else was saying. You were just looking at your paragraph over and over and over and over again. And even if you read it over and over and over again, something was bound to matter because you were like everybody's watching you. But the reality is nobody cared what you were saying because they were too worried about what they had to read.
In their head.
Right. They're paying attention to what they had to read, and if they had already read, they were now completely like, I'm off the hook. I don't care what's happening right now.
So the trick to that was volunteering to read first. Because if you read first, you're done. But I'm actually, Peter and I are reading The Greatest Love Story Ever Told, which is Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally, their book.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that existed.
It's so good. But the great part about it is, in addition to not sounding out words, I also make up words, or like I anticipate what people are trying to say, and so I just fill the sentence out. Peter can't tell because I'm reading it out loud to him. And so it's also weird because it's more of an interview style. It goes between Nick and Megan.
Okay.
Anytime I mess up, I just kind of, he doesn't know because he's not reading it. So as long as I just keep going, I could say whatever I wanted to say and he wouldn't know the difference.
So if he ever rereads it, he's going to be like, wait a minute, that's not what happened. That's not what Jasmine read to me.
Yeah, yeah, probably. But it's like instead of have to go, I'll just say went to, or something that's like similar, but it's kind of like how T9 used to work, where it would anticipate what you were saying and fill it out. And sometimes it was right, but sometimes it wasn't. I'm basically T9 in the 21st century. So
You're I mean, that makes you sound like you're some version of a Terminator. Like it's Jasmine the T9 is here in 2020.
I mean, it would be the year. This would be the year.
This would be it. No, Chris and I just finished watching Parks and Rec, probably about maybe 2-3 months ago, and the whole Nick Offerman, like, I fully fell in love with that man. Like, if he showed up in Ashboro and somebody like posted about it somewhere, I would quit whatever I was doing and go find him.
And run.
He
Yeah.
is, interestingly enough, he is the inspiration. So in our tap room, we have the 4 posts.
Mhm.
And each post represents one of our saints. And the St. Augustine saint is fashioned after Nick Offerman. And
Is he really?
Yeah.
I think you might have told me, actually.
I may have. But if you look at the picture that Liz McKinnon painted,
Mhm.
she used a different celebrity for each saint, and Nick Offerman was the one for St. Augustine. A lot of people look at it and their initial reaction is Zach Galifianakis, and we're like, no, better. Zach, if you ever watch this, truth. But the watching Parks and Rec and watching Tammy and Ron and their interactions, and knowing that those two are like together in real life, like it cracked me up every time they got on screen.
Reading this book it's definitely kind of become a relationship goals for me. They are so fun, and I'm never gonna have that kind of relationship because neither Peter and I are that funny. Like, my kind of funny is all the dad jokes, like anything that could possibly be punny. I think it's hilarious. I made a joke about so every time I fill up my water cup, I do 15 jumping jacks. This is something I started only during quarantine because I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna fittest I've ever been in my life.
Sure.
Yeah.
Only during
quarantine. But I made a joke about coming out of quarantine jacked, and I laughed so hard. I'm hilarious. I don't know if you know this about me, but I am hilarious. And Peter didn't think it was funny at all.
No,
so.
That's funny. That's good.
That's my brand of humor. That's like a daily basis. How to survive living with Jasmine. Just make all the pun jokes, and I will laugh forever. So,
are you on like a constant pun alert? Are you?
Oh yeah.
For opportunities.
Yeah. Anything that could possibly be a pun, I'm looking out for it. But Peter and I are not comedians, and we're also not as good at puzzles as they are. Though quarantine, we did finish our first quarantine puzzle. It was a Where's Waldo puzzle.
Not like, so you mean like 2D puzzles on tables?
Yeah. No, Nick and Megan do puzzles, and then they model the puzzles.
Oh, sorry. You're talking about comedians, and then you said we're not comedians, and we're not as good at puzzles as they are, and I was
right.
Like, Do comedians have an extra leg?
No, Megan and Nick do puzzles. There's apparently an Instagram out there somewhere that's just them and their puzzles and then modeling the puzzles. Peter showed me some of them, and they were amazing. But we did a puzzle. We did a Where's Waldo puzzle. It was 1,000 pieces, and it was all dinosaurs, and they were all different colors, and you had to find Waldo in there. And the problem was I found Waldo, but I couldn't figure out where he went. So, you know. But that took us probably 4 days. And if I had sat there long enough, it could have maybe taken me 1 day. But it's funny how when you like come back to a puzzle, you're like, oh, this is where this one goes, and that goes there. It's
It sounds like there probably is a Facebook support group
for puzzlers.
Puzzle strugglers.
If there's not, there should be, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, just are you struggling with puzzles? Come to us. Like we'll feel your pain. Oh no, we'll find your pain.
Here, just take a picture and we'll show you where everything goes.
We've probably already done this one. So
apparently there's a puzzle outage in the world right now. Amazon and White Mountain Puzzles, which is where I got my NC craft beer puzzle, they're all out of stock. So Peter was looking on Craigslist to see if there were puzzles, and I was like, but you know that you're like getting a used puzzle from someone who may or may not have COVID-19. Like, I don't know if Craigslist is safe right now. I don't know.
Yeah. See, you took that in a different direction than I would have, because you took it into the immediacy, the real world concern. And my thought was, if it was a used puzzle, there were going to be pieces missing.
No! So I have this amazing idea. Okay? So I want to volunteer with Goodwill as their resident puzzle putter together. There's got to be somebody who has to put together all these puzzles, right? And figure out if they're missing any pieces. Because I'd still buy a puzzle if it was missing pieces, but I'd like to know ahead of time so that I'm not searching for that piece. Like, I would, okay, you're going to pay $1 for a puzzle that has 1,000 pieces. It's going to give you plenty of brain work, don't worry, especially with missing pieces.
Even if it was missing like 1 or 2 pieces, you're like, there's still 998 pieces.
Right. Like, they're still there. The challenge is still there. But they have to have somebody who takes the time to put together all these puzzles, and I want to volunteer as that person.
But
that's what I did. And then I had this amazing idea. I was like, you know what they should do? They should take these puzzles to a retirement community and have the seniors put them together. Because A, you're getting your puzzles put together, find out if you're missing any pieces. B, they're working their brains, so they're maintaining their like normal functions. And C, like, you're doing good for the community. Who doesn't like a good puzzle?
So let me ask you: if you walked into Goodwill, Salvation Army, we'll say KB Toys, which doesn't exist anymore, but maybe you would just find some sketch KB Toys somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a puzzle sitting there, and you enjoyed the idea of the puzzle. It was like, where's Waldo, Beer, and Lisa Frank all together? You haven't mentioned Lisa Frank yet.
That sounds like it.
So, like, all 3 of them are, bam, they're all smashed together.
Uh-huh.
And it said, the puzzle costs $1. It's 1,000 pieces, and it said missing 3 pieces. Would you still buy that puzzle?
Yes.
You would.
It's like Waldo drunk riding a like leopard print saber-toothed tiger, basically. So would you not buy that puzzle?
I think that might need to be our next beer label, actually.
No, I would totally buy that puzzle. And that's the thing is I would pay the problem with the puzzles that you get at the Goodwill, they're always like really weird puzzles. Like it's not a cool Where's Waldo puzzle.
So what kind of puzzles do you find at Goodwill? I mean, I don't know. I've not perused that aisle.
So we have 3 puzzles in our puzzle library, I guess. So one of them is the NC.
The puzzle library. It is now.
One is the NC Craft Beer puzzle from White Mountain Puzzles, which has a lot of breweries that unfortunately are no longer with us. But it's still fun to put together. And then the second one is a odd shaped one from IKEA. And it also has 3 different puzzle piece sizes. So there's like big puzzle pieces, there's like medium puzzle pieces, and then there's like really tiny puzzle pieces. It's weird, but it's really cool. And it's got, I don't even remember what's on it, but it's got a bunch of different colors and it's a lot of fun. And it's shaped like a diamond, kind of like that. Which is just weird.
But it's not.
And then the last one.
But it's not a picture of something. It's just colors and.
No, it is a picture of something. I just don't remember what it is. It's from IKEA. A bunch of weird things. I don't know. And then the last one is the Where's Waldo one, which I bought on a whim at like a Ross or a TJ Maxx, because I was like, oh, who doesn't love Where's Waldo? And it's a puzzle, so you have to find Waldo, and then you have to figure out where he goes. And there was also Wendy and Wanda, and apparently there's like a scroll with a gold star on it that you have to find. That was in there too. There wasn't actually a sheet on there that said, hey, you have to find Waldo and the wizard and Wendy and Wanda, but we found them, so I guess it counts.
I'm gonna guess so too, because I have no idea who Wendy and Wanda are. They sound nice, but
they look like Waldo, but they're female. So
there's 2 of them.
Yeah, there's a blonde and a brunette.
And a gold star.
And a gold star. Yeah. So I told Peter, I was like, you know what we should get? We should get like an I Spy puzzle next. And he's like, but does that come with a sheet of things that you're supposed to spy? Because, okay, so it's 2 games in one, right? You have to put together the puzzle, and then you have to find the things that you're supposed to find.
So, I mean, at that point, whoever spent the most time on the puzzle would know where everything was, because you'd be like,
which would be me. Because,
there it is. I know where that is.
Yeah.
I spent 4 hours looking for that damn piece right there.
So Peter told me I wasn't supposed to work on it without him, except he went to work and I work from home. So he came back and I was like, you would be so proud of me. I only put 10 pieces in today. I only put together all of this part. It's fine. I still saved you 2 pieces. It's fine. You still get to.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Puzzle. Yeah, we haven't gotten the puzzles yet.
Not yet. You'll get there. You'll get there.
I think it's a little more difficult for us to get in the puzzles with walking around the house. One, to have a place where it would be safe to stay and not mess with. One, 2, on a daily basis, we have Estella goes through moments of like, I am ready to kick the world's ass, and anything you bring at me, I can handle, and I got this, and I can do this. Yeah.
I want to take it.
And then decided, and then 2 seconds later, it's be like, why did the winds blow on me? Oh,
I feel like her and I would get along really well. That's me every
well, you
day.
know what? We'll schedule a play date.
A Zoom right
Zoom.
now.
Oh yes, right. Zoom date. Yes. So puzzles may not work right now for us.
Mm. Well, now they've got these big things. There's a whole like Reddit subthread or something, or a subreddit, whatever you people
Subreddit,
call it.
yeah.
I don't know. I
Whatever
don't know
you
what.
call
I
it.
don't, I don't Reddit. I'm not a Reddit person. But apparently there's a whole thing about like how you can buy a puzzle holder, and you can like you set up your puzzle on this cardboard piece, and then you can fold the sides over and then carry it with you wherever you go. Because I take my puzzle everywhere. I don't know about you. I take it,
Sounds
to
like
the
black magic.
bar, to the gas station, wherever. That's a thing that you could do. But we are fortunate in that we have two kitchen tables.
Oh yeah.
We've got like a bar table, which has 4 seats, and then we've got a round kitchen table that Peter's brother got for us a couple years ago, which has a leaf that you can fold out. So it's perfect for puzzling. It's also great for gaming, but it's actually in our kitchen, so nobody actually sits there because the other one's in the dining room. So
So is the round one with the leaf? That's your puzzle table?
yeah,
And then you eat if you
for like the 2 puzzles that we've ever done. So
right. But you have no. See, you have 3 puzzles. Hence,
right. Mm. Well, so the whole reason we got the it's also an IKEA table. So the reason we got the IKEA table is because Peter, in his bachelor days, had a glass top table, which I don't know if you've ever had glass covered furniture. It gets dirty, and you can tell all the time. And when we moved in, I was like, okay, the one, like, if we're going to get rid of furniture, which we're going to get rid of all your furniture eventually, but if we're going to get rid of any furniture, it's going to be this table. And I had so much satisfaction from like rolling that glass top table out to the trash bin. It was so lovely. And I'm so glad that Mike bought us our table. But yeah.
glass top tables show every. They do. They show every. They're like black cars. They show everything. Like if you spill a slight dollop of applesauce, it's there, and you can see after you wipe it up. You're like, oh, somebody spilled something there. You don't know what, but you're just like, you question.
There's something there.
Something.
Yeah.
We don't know.
So I had the first car I ever had was a black car. The second car I ever had was a white car, and now I have a red car. And
which is your preference?
The red one,
Yeah.
obviously. It was the one that I bought myself. So, yeah, the black one, exactly like you said, like it showed everything. But the white one did too. Like snow, when you drive through snow, it shows all of the dirt and stuff that you pick up, and then all of a sudden you've got this brown car, and you're like, how did that happen? Ugh, I gotta go to the car wash. But
yeah, I've had I had my first car was a silver car, and the next car was a tan car.
ooh.
Yeah, that was a 19. Oh geez. So I had it during college. That was a 19, maybe 88, 89 Toyota Corolla. If that was a thing. But yeah, it had there was somehow, some way, and I don't know if it happened because of me. But the passenger side door had it had a gash in it. Like there was a deep cut. So anytime it rained, rain just went right down into the door. Yeah. I don't know how that happened. But it was a great car. It was good. It was sturdy, but it was tan, it was ugly, and it was easy to drive. And then after that, it was a dark green Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was really happy when I bought that car. I was able to put a lot of things in that car, like moving, like it. I was able to make that thing feel like a U-Haul with the way I could feng shui stuff in there, moving back and forth from different places. And then then I went to a Lancer, and Lancer.
Is
Uh,
that
what's that?
a sedan or a hatch? A Lancer.
The Lancer was a sedan. It was a yeah. It was a the the Eclipse just died. Like one day, just absolutely just up and quit. Like my little teeny tiny pretend sports car just 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 out. And then it sat in my the apartment complex that I lived in. It just sat in the apartment complex for about a year until I finally.
Oh, many memories.
You did the same thing? Like you just
No.
no. Oh,
When my car died, I like I had to get rid of it.
uh,
I had so my second car, I had a Honda Accord coupe.
okay. Yeah.
And again, same thing as you with the Lancer, like the amount of stuff that I could fit in that car was astounding. Nobody else could fit as much things as as I could. But I had one of those flip key rings. So the ones where you press the button and the key flips out.
Yeah.
The key broke. Like it broke in half. So for a while, it was fine. I would just like keep the two pieces and then I would just crank it whenever I needed to drive and then just like uncrank. But then it cracked and I had to pay $150 to get the key, which still didn't open the door with the click click. So I had to like click on my own. It was fine. And yeah, it eventually just like died.
Yeah.
And that's when I got my new car because I needed to. But
Your click click stopped working.
well, now my click works fine. I don't even have to make the noise. It makes it itself. It's great. In order for them to fix it, so that is like in order for them to fix that, for them to make me a new key was $150.
Right.
For them, they would have to fix all of the wiring in the door in order to click or to like fix the.
Really?
There was some kind of like battery operated something. I don't know. Technology is hard.
Right.
Yeah, it was gonna cost like thousands of dollars, and that car was worth. You want to know how much CarMax paid me for that car? $300.
You were like, you bastard! This car is worth more than $300.
So much more. But the car that I remember the most growing up, my mom had a poop brown Buick that had velvet seats that were also poop brown. Most comfortable car we've ever driven in.
Was it a Bonneville?
I have no idea.
Okay. All right. That's all right.
We had an Oldsmobile at one point too. But this Buick, the velvet poop brown seats, so great. Yeah, that was before we even moved out to North Carolina. So that car was primo when we had it.
Just under a year ago, we had a Toyota RAV4 that Kristen was driving.
RAV4s are the best.
And it's an awesome. It's what I'm driving now, and I love it. It's fantastic, and I'm happy. I'm quite happy with it. Probably the nicest car that I personally have ever been able to call my own. even though it's still in Kristen's name.
But that's why you're married. Everything becomes like ours.
Yeah,
That's right here.
she's great. She takes care of me. But prior to that was a '98 Pontiac Bonneville. It was maroon red,
Oh boy.
had gold rims. So we called her name was Bonnie. She was Bonnie with the gold rims.
Oh boy. That's the best.
Oh, that again, Kristen, that's because I was just like, oh, that car. That's what I would have named it. It was like that car. It had no air conditioning, but it had
Air conditioning though.
what's that?
Like you roll the windows down. I'm a windows down girl anyway. So having air conditioning that works is very strange for me. I'm like, oh, what is this?
No, I get that. It's like that particular car, like if you put the front windows and the back windows down, like if you did that, that was at least 75% of the top half of the car because there were just windows everywhere. So it was just like, you open up all the windows, it was just wind tunnel, just.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
The radio's on, but you're not sure it is because you're just listening.
You can't. It's like on 40.
Right. But it had huge, like they were almost like living room, like 1980s living room comforter chairs as the front and like the front two seats, like bucket seats, I guess maybe they're called. I don't know. Like just you open the door and you're like, oh, I'm getting ready to watch Family Matters, and you just sit down and it was just like, boom. And they were really comfortable, and you kind of adjust a little bit, and you start driving and be like, oh, it's 95 degrees, and I am sweating like I'm sweating like crazy because this thing.
I didn't think I would be sweating in.
What's that?
In places I didn't think I would be sweating in, but.
What is this? Like, oh, I'm sitting in a living room chair in a car, and with no air conditioning. But the car was solid. Every time we talked to somebody who knew about cars, like, oh, that car's got the best engine that you could ever want. I'm like, I'm not trying to outrun the cops. I'm trying to get from point A to point B in the most comfortable fashion that I can.
Right.
This is not
a living room chair, obviously.
it's not gonna happen. But so
we did.
Go ahead.
Growing up, we had I think it was an '89 Toyota Tercel, and there was a hole in the trunk. I'm serious, like a hole in the trunk.
In the top of the trunk, like.
No, in the bottom of the trunk, because I put a pair. So this was the summer my mom was working down at the beach.
Uh-huh.
And I put a pair of flip-flops in the trunk, and they just disappeared. There was I'm not even joking with you. There was a hole in the trunk. We had something put over the hole, and the flip-flops just fell through. And rainbow flip-flops, bye-bye.
You made somebody's day. Somebody was walking across the freeway.
Hot asphalt. And they were like,
hey,
free rainbow flip-flops. This one's here. I think the other one's a mile up there. I'll go get it. It's fine.
We had yes. So old cars, like our parents drove cars with holes in them on a regular basis. Like it was just, that was a normal thing. It was like, we look at it, we're like, oh, that sock has a hole in it. Let's get rid of it. Like we need to be done with it. Our parents were like, our car has a hole in it. Let's drive it for another 100,000 miles.
It'll make it. I feel like I have that with Peter, where like his work socks will have a hole in them, and I'm like, Peter, there's a hole in your socks, and he's like, it's still fine, and I'm like, but your socks are in your work boots all day. What if like some chemical spills into your work boots? Like, what if something happens? And he's like, it's fine. That's never going to happen. I'm like, we have enough money to afford new socks. Like, you don't need to hold on to these socks right now. It's okay to buy new socks.
See,
It's
that
okay.
take the roles and reverse them. Because like I'm the one that I just like yesterday. Yeah, yesterday there was a pair of socks, and there was there was a hole like that, and like people are gonna listen to this and be like, "Oh, you," and there was a hole like that. And I was like, "Oh, we gotta get rid of this." And Chris was like, "Why? That sock's fine. That sock's fine. You're not gonna feel that on your heel. You're not gonna feel that hole on your heel. Just keep it. You're fine." Like, yeah, but it'll get bigger, and it'll get bigger, and then it'll just things are gonna get in there, and it won't be good. Like it's not like she did like there wasn't any concern about chemicals because Andrew deals well on that, and he's much more happy.
He doesn't have holes.
And like if chemicals got into my sock, I would scream like a little girl and run away. Like not that screaming like a little girl is the wrong thing. It just it would be high pitched. But so but yeah, but like my dad my dad had a red station wagon. I don't know what make or model, but I remember this red station wagon would take us everywhere, and it was you hope that you get the chance to sit in the like way back, like not in the seat, like way in the way back. Rarely happened, but I remember on school days, um, we would all get into the car, and the heat would be on, and the heat would stink. It was a terrible stench, and
Filter probably needed to be changed.
what's that?
The filter probably needed to be changed.
If there was a filter that belonged in this 1983 whatever it was, like yes,
It was covered in mold.
but there was just this, and he always blamed it on somebody stuck toothpaste up somewhere, in which knowing my brother and me probably happened. But like he would start the car up, and we'd get in the car, and then like he would come out from the house, and then we would just see him disappear for a little bit. And what he was doing, like there was, and like I guess statute limitations were all okay here, but underneath the car, like there was the gas tank had a small hole in it, so he would rub soap on it, so that the gas would leak out. And when we would drive to school, and then he would teach, and we would go to school, and he'd come out, and then he'd rub some soap on it, and then we'd come home. But I was just like, they growing up, I was like, oh, that's normal. That's what you do. Like you have a car, there's a gas tank, it's got a hole in it. Just put some Irish Spring on it. Everybody's gonna be okay.
Just like rub some dirt on it while you're just racing soap on it.
But even better, like it was cleaning it. It was like,
right, obviously.
but yeah, looking back at it, it's like, wow, okay. If that happened today, be like, get rid of this car.
Yeah.
We trash it, compact it, do whatever. Can we get $299 for it?
Right. Well, that's where I was at. Like my first two cars were Hondas. I had a Honda Civic and a Honda Accord. Like a Honda, you can run into the ground. That's what they tell me. Problem is, I did actually run them into the ground. Curbs in Hondas don't get along super well. My first one, I ran over a curb and cracked the transmission.
Oh. What?
The second one, I ran over a curb and got a flat tire. So that one wasn't so bad. It also had like 250,000 miles on it.
So how has your relationship with curbs come over the past few years?
Much better. I have a Mazda 3 hatchback now. It's my car. I bought it all by myself. I'm the only person listed on the title, so I am much more conscious of my curbs now. But I'm also not like, I think I have better habits now. And right now I'm not driving it that much.
Of course. Yes.
Peter's driving it to work, so putting more miles on it than I am, which is kind of sad.
At what age did you hit the curbs?
21 and 23, 24.
I think science would prove that 21, the ages of 21 to 25 are adverse.
The dumb years.
I mean, it seems like it would. I mean, I may or may not have hit a few curbs, run over a few curbs, completely missed a few curbs in my 20 to 25 years of life. So I think.
Well, and now I live in Charlotte, which is like a whole nother driving sphere. When it was so funny, I was so excited when we had made it like 6 months without either one of us getting in a car accident, because living in Charlotte and making it 6 months without a car accident, given our insurance premiums and how much they go up with, like you living in this metro area is crazy. But then I got rear-ended in the rain in a rental.
Oh. In Charlotte or in another?
Cincy Beer Month. Yeah. I was coming back from Asheville and it was raining and I was like, okay, this kind of sucks, but like it's 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock, it's fine. But there was a truck with a trailer behind me and there was already an accident ahead of us, and I slowed down for the accident, but he couldn't slow down enough to stop before he hit me. So I tried to pull off so that he only like grazed me, but it was a rental. Like either way, it was going to be a lose situation. So, but we haven't been in any kind of accident since then, so that's good.
Do you have any wood around you at this point that you can knock profusely after such a brash statement?
Yeah, I have this wooden desk, which is the next piece of furniture that we're getting rid of. So full circle. It's all about the furniture that we're getting rid of.
Does everybody know about the desk that's getting rid of, or is this just?
Yeah, the problem is, so that's the other thing. Everyone's working from home, or as we were talking about earlier, at home working or trying to work. And so they're all updating their home office. So all the desks on Wayfair are out of stock.
Crazy.
No desk for you.
But I mean, but based off of this, the prior conversation, I would have anticipated that you'd be looking at IKEA.
You're right. But I mean, like IKEA desks, they're not built to last.
No.
They're just built to build. I put together an entire IKEA bed frame by myself.
Yeah?
A queen size bed frame with drawers underneath.
What?
6 hours.
I didn't know IKEA offered underneath bed or underneath drawers. That's
Oh no, they're separate. Like you buy them separate.
okay.
But I put them together by myself. I tried to bribe people with beer, and that didn't work. And so I put them together. I put the whole thing together by myself, and that was the saddest night of my life. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was so stressful because the number of times that I like tried to hammer something in while like holding on to it, and it was the worst.
Trying to figure out how to be two people at one time.
I'm not. I don't have a split personality, and I don't have enough arms.
Right. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like you need somebody to hold this thing together while you do this other thing, whether it's tightening something or I
don't even have that bed frame anymore. 6 hours and it just like disappeared out of my life. $200.
We got I'm sorry to hear that.
But that's why I'm not getting my desk from IKEA.
That's why.
I know I wouldn't have to put it together by myself, but there's just like, I can't do that to my heart again.
Don't. You're wise. You are wiser not to. I mean, that's what comes from that is, learn experiences, and you take that and you take it to the next stage of life, the next step, and you're like, I'm not going to do this.
Right. I'm not going to put myself through the emotional drama of putting together an IKEA bed ever again.
That's, we got a Stella a bunk bed for Christmas, and that's because that was our big thing. She wanted.
They're the best. Bunk beds are the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my brother and I had one growing up, which was, looking back on it, was not anywhere near safe. Because my dad built I love you, Dad. He built he built our two bed frame. He built our two bed frames out of wood. I mean, it was just 2x4s and 2x6s, and he built them. And they were fairly sturdy. And then we badgered him enough to make bunk beds, and he just went fine. And he took one of the beds and just put it on top of the other.
Right.
Ratcheted them all together, and we're like, we're good. That's fantastic. And I look back on it now, when it was my turn to be on the bottom bunk and my brother was on the top bunk. I remember I remember seeing it. I remember looking at the top, and I think about it now. I'm like, holy crap! Not the greatest thing in the world. But so Estella wanted bunk beds, and we were like, let's do this. This is the present that we'll give forever, because she could have sleepovers, and there's already a bed and all that great stuff. And the vision was we were getting it for her for Christmas, and we were going to let her sleep in our bed on Christmas Eve. Let her go to sleep in our bed on Christmas Eve, and then after her bunk bed was put together, would move her from our bed to her new bunk bed and have her wake up and be like, oh my goodness, my bunk bed, Santa Claus, magic Christmas. And it didn't happen at all. We got to a certain point where Chris and I just looked at each other and went, the bunk bed is still in the box. Let's leave it in the box. Let's give her the box. And that's what happened. And so the next night, I was like, I got this. You go put her to bed. I'm going to put the bunk bed together. And I was ratcheting things together. And then I got to a point where I wouldn't even try to, it got complicated. And I walked out to Kristen and I went, I need you to come and help me. In the most defeated voice. I remember saying it. It was just I can't do this without you. And it was a moment where I could have been like, I need you. But it was more like, I can't do this. And she came in and she helped me. We put it all together. And then the next morning, Estelle was like, yay, my bunk bed. Out the door. Gone. It was no, I need you to relish this moment.
I need to be right here, right now.
I need you to look at this, and I need you to admire and accept and be in complete wonderment, because all of my fingertips are raw right now from screws and Allen wrenches and things that just, anyways. So I get where you're coming from. Yeah, I don't ever want to put another bunk bed together. And IKEA is
amazing.
It's amazing.
Don't get me wrong. I will go to IKEA forever. Peter and I actually talked about doing a date night at IKEA, which I would totally still be game for. The meatballs, so here for it. Although I did make meatballs the other day and they were kind of better, but it's fine. Bunk beds. So did you get her the one that has a twin bed up top and a full on the bottom? So that's what we had growing up. Yeah. And there was removable, we had the metal version. So you had the removable ladder and you had the removable safety bar.
Yes.
So sometimes we didn't have the safety bar and I rolled off and it's fine. I'm fine. I think I'm fine. But
like you off
onto the bottom.
like, did you bounce? Like hit the
I stayed there. I don't remember, honestly. It just happened.
Don't remember it happens so often. You're just like that part of
And then we had the removables ladder, which I told Peter this story the other day. But when I was little, my mom being a single mom, like she was off doing her mom thing, and by that I mean like earning money so that we could all eat and stuff. But me and my sister took the removable ladder and put it to our window and then climbed out the window and then forgot to pull the ladder out with us. And this is in Minnesota in like the winter. So it was cold. It was really cold. And then we were like, oh, maybe like climbing out while we're getting babysat is not a great idea. So then we walked around and our babysitter had locked the front door, but we didn't want to tell anybody. Like we didn't want her to know that we had snuck out. And so we weren't going to knock. And so we sat, this was when we lived in an apartment. So we sat in the entryway to the apartment complex until my mom got home, and then had to explain to her why we were sitting outside instead of in our beds where we should have been, where Dawn thought we were, but we weren't because we had climbed out and not pulled the ladder with us. So if you're going to climb out using a ladder, make sure you pull the ladder with you because otherwise you get stuck on the other side.
I think that right there is fantastic. Just esoteric advice, if there ever was. Like, if you're gonna climb out,
make sure you pull the ladder with you. I'm telling you.
But I also have a feeling that it was worse for Dawn than it was for you guys.
I don't remember. Again, I was like maybe 7 or 8 at the time, and I thought I was being like so rebellious, like, oh, I'm gonna sneak out after hours. Like Dawn thought she put us to bed, and she didn't. We climbed out, but it was like 30 degrees outside, so joke's on us because we were in our PJs.
So yeah, I think Dawn did Dawn ever watch you guys again? Did she come?
She was one of our neighbors, okay. So she was like a last resort babysitter.
Last resort.
Right. Like if you couldn't find anybody else, you called Dawn. And she would always come through because she lived just down the hall. Do what?
You'd always come through with being there. Not
right.
Making, or
she was like 100% cognizant of what was going on. But when you got 3 little girls running around, like
at some point,
I would just watch Jeopardy too, honestly.
Holy cow. That's fantastic. Wow. I think that's where we're gonna end. I think we're gonna end on you sneaking out of your room in 30-degree weather at 8 years old on Dawn the babysitter. I think that there's
my mom did come home.
Yes.
Was concerned like why we were outside, but yes.
I mean, you obviously grew up and have led a successful life and are not adversely affected by the choices that you made at 8 years old.
Hey, you can get past the choices you make when you're 8.
Yeah, yes. I mean, we're gonna show this to like second grade classes. We're gonna, like,
obviously. Language is not a problem. The fact that we've been drinking is not a problem. It's fine.
Maybe third grade classes, because then you could be like, oh yeah, that's what I did when I was 8. But I'm now 9. Anyway, but Jasmine, thank you for joining me tonight, and I hope you've had some fun. Jasmine is with she's with the North Carolina Craft Brewers Guild. What is your Chris asked me this, and I don't know. What is your official title with the Craft Brewers Guild?
So I am the event and allied member development manager.
What she said there was she kicks ass. Um, Jasmine puts together a lot of wonderful events with the Craft Brewers Guild, with our state conference and our Brew Smarts, which is a place where a bunch of people get together and drink beer and get smarter, which sounds counterintuitive, but it actually happens. She does a great job in helping us in the North Carolina craft brewing community stay connected and stay intelligent, and doing what we do to bring you all wonderful beer. So Jasmine, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for your stories. They were awesome. And thank you for sharing some beer with me tonight. And you're fantastic. Any final words from you to share with everybody?
This is what happens after 2 beers.
Yes, after 2 beers. So wherever you are whether you're in North Carolina or Ohio or Pennsylvania or California, or if you're watching this wherever, support your local brewery. They will appreciate it. They need it. And hopefully it means something to you. But support local regardless of what you're doing right now. And we're all going to come out of this okay and clink glasses in person sometime soon. So thank you very much. Good night.
Right.